Anyone need to stand up? You're right, just stand up and sit down. Get the blood going. It's fall asleep time. Righto. Cool. Okay, hands up if this is your first time Bible study leading at a PYV camp. Got a few freshies, good to see. Right, so what we're going to talk about, we're not talking about the content, that's what you did this morning. We're going to talk about how to do the Bible studies. Okay, so the great thing about training day is you meet your other leaders and you might have picked up they're a different personality, a different person from you. And that's actually a good thing. But you actually kind of want to work that out and maybe even afternoon tea or whatever, talk about your style or what you're used to. Or ask your study leaders what their default style is. Because we've got different churches, different personalities, different heritages. We can do Bible studies differently, and it's good to know that. Okay, but Bible study leader, what does it mean to be a Bible study leader? Definition, what's a Bible study leader doing in the Bible study group? Or what are they not doing?
Like getting all the answers.
Yeah.
Facilitating discussion and questions.
Yeah, so you're not a preacher, yeah? So it's not an opportunity for you to say, hear ye, listen up and listen to the guru and get your pens out because you're going to write down everything I say. That's a preacher mode. We're a study leader, okay? So with some Bible study groups and churches, they can be dominated by the leader. It might be a bit rude and saying that's not actually what we're wanting, okay? We're wanting the leaders' voices to be helping facilitate conversation but not dominating. So if the leader's talking over 60% of the time, 50% of the time, that's probably not ideal. Will that be okay, Hannah? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, so thinking about keeping conversations going, good book I've photocopied, but hopefully not enough, and this is on video. I think I'm okay with copyright laws. Growth groups, but another one, Leading Better Bible Studies. They're kind of the two Aussie books to get. Hot potato. You want the conversation to keep going, right? And you think of the group dynamics. I haven't got a pen, but say you've got everyone in a circle. You want conversation not just to be leader this person, leader this person, leader this person, leader this person. Everything's coming back to the leader. In an ideal world, conversations will be going everywhere. Does that make sense? You with me? All right. Driving instructor. I prefer this. What is a driving instructor? In order to be a driving instructor, what are you got to be able to do? Thank you. Drive, exactly. What's the point of a driving instructor driving for the learner? They don't learn. So as Bible study leader, you want to be the driving instructor. You don't want your hands on the wheel unless they're gone into heresy. And that's this big semi-trailer about to hit, and you've got to grab that wheel and push them to safety. Yeah? You let the Bible study group go, but you're in the car, your role is to facilitate the discussion so that it stays on track. So if you think about it, you've got all your questions, but you're trying to get them to maybe the big idea, or maybe there's some key things you want them to know. And so you're actually getting that. Now, what's the best question in a Bible study group? The best question that everyone's going to pay attention to. The best question is from someone in your Bible study asking that question. Unless it's a red herring or something off track, yeah? So this is the great thing about what Jared's done, is that we've got a whole bunch of the questions, but you've actually, part of what you've got to do is you've got to tailor it to your group and working out how to do it. Now, first question often can be the making or breaking. You know, they talk about the job interview, the first minute, 30 seconds, you've either got the job or not. First 30 seconds or minute, or maybe let's say 5 minutes in the Bible study, is going to determine the rest of the hour. What needs to happen with that first question? What needs to happen? You don't want this, do you? No. Need to get them talking. Who needs to talk? Okay, how many? Every camper has to talk in that first question, right? If you don't have someone that doesn't talk in that first question, what are they going to do for the rest of the Bible study? Most of the time, they're not going to talk. They actually have to hear their voice in the room to, one, it loosens their tongue, but also gives them permission to speak. So, what's the first question? What's the key thing about the first question? Engaging. It's got to be safe. It's got to be a question where no one's going to get embarrassed. There's no wrong answers. And everyone, even if it's the same thing, can have a good question. Now, I think that's what we've got, haven't we? We've got good, safe questions at the start. Yeah, you might, depending on your age, if you've got 14-year-old boys, you might have to think of something different than 12-year-old girls. Because 12-year-old girls, hold on, you know, you're not going to shush them up. But the 14-year-old boys, it's like a crowbar to get those mouths open, to get them talking, yeah? So it's really important, the first question, everyone talks, and you let them do that. Okay. Room dynamics. You want to have, I'm a big fan of a circle, or it can be a big square, but what needs to happen with the people in the circle? Don't want two leaders sitting next to each other, so you've got to spread out. What else? You don't want people sitting at different heights necessarily. Thank you, Isaiah. Everyone, I'm a big fan, some people aren't as big on this. I want everyone to be equal. Everyone on the same height. I don't like people on the floor, because what do? They fall asleep, or they can just shut themselves out, or they can get themselves in really stupid, awkward looking positions, and I don't want that. And I want them awake. Sometimes if you're in the dining room, you can do the big square, but you need it to be a square so that everyone can see the eyes. Yeah? I mean, a lot of you already know this, but that's good. They talk about the seat of power. Say this is the door to the room. Ideally, the person leading will be here. So what that means, if you have latecomers and they come in, you see them coming in before anyone else. You can control their interaction and their distraction. Whereas if you sit here and someone comes in and it's the clown or something, everyone can be distracted. You have no idea. If you're a bit nervous, and you know, it's no good, right? Any questions? Everyone happy? Now, Brad will be able to tell me if I've done the right thing. Just pass them around. Are you allowed to photocopy up to 8% or is it 10% of a book? Yeah. Okay, so the photocopy you're getting is growth groups. Colin Marshall, he's an Aussie bloke, he's a ripper bloke. This is helpful. You've also got, I don't know who did this one in our little booklet. It wasn't me. Who did this? Brian. Team, how to lead study groups, personalities. And you've got the different personalities there. Now that's good, but you can read that later because I don't want to just rip that off. How am I going for time? Got a couple minutes. So getting to know your campers is really important, and it's particularly important if it's easy at West Camp, because if I've got some girls, no I don't in my group, if I've got some blokes from Surrey Hills and I don't know, I'll go and talk to Sam, where's Sam? There's Sam, or Isaac, or the boys and say, what's this guy about? You know, you can have that little, they can give you 30 seconds, 1 minute, and that could really help you, okay? Constructive roles, here we go, the first page. The peacemaker, focuser, encourager, sympathiser, initiator, summariser, humorist. Now you might have all of them, you might only have 2, you might have none. Just keep on that first page, don't turn over yet. Let's just stay on this page, okay. Focuser is really helpful because it can get people back to the questions. But sometimes the focuser can get so wrapped up in we have to answer every question, and if you say we're going to skip question 5, they go, whoa, and no, you can't do that. And you say, well, yes, I can. I'm the facilitator. We don't have time to do that. We're going to do that, all right? Sympathiser, teenage boys, you won't probably find one, but you could. The initiator is really helpful, but you've got to be careful. Okay, because the initiator is normally stereotyped, that person that likes to talk, and also that person that can't handle pauses or awkward silence. And so in Bible studies I've had over the years, I've got my initiator, and she, can often be a she, is quite helpful because she'll get things going. Use that to your advantage. The humorist is actually good because particularly if you've got a heavy topic, or everyone's a bit whacked, a bit of laughs can help, yeah? Any questions about them? That all makes sense? Right, and now we can turn the page, although you've all probably read it already. Devil's advocate, that's another really helpful one. And if, say you have, I like to play devil's advocate a bit, if someone answers the question that you've already got straight away, normally it's the dominator or the know-it-all, I like to say, what do other people think? And they're like, oh, that's not the answer. And that's really good. Because if there's silence, that means people have actually, the pressure's on to actually come up with something. If you've got talker talking the whole time, a lot of people will switch off. And so what you actually do is actually get them engaged by actually saying, oh yeah. And then my groups in the past, they get really frustrated with me. They say, but Jimmy said that 5 minutes ago. I said, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Now everyone agrees. Okay. Destructive roles. Now this one's probably the one you're going to have the most, the onlooker. This is the one, they're just sitting there. They're not involved. They're a problem. Because you want them involved. It's for everyone. Okay, now we've got some strategies there. You know, make sure that you can get them talking in that first question, but then give them a question that you know that they'll be able to answer. Okay, because what happens if you ask someone a question that you're not sure about if they can answer? What could happen? They won't answer, or if they answer and it's really dumb answer, not that there's any dumb answers, just dumb questions, but they don't, and everyone laughs at them because you've got teenagers, what's going to happen then? They won't speak for the rest of camp. And so you've lost them, and you've lost them in a big way, right? So I like to call people by names, but it has to be safe, okay? Any questions about the onlooker? No. The other way I like to do it, if I'm coming in, I actually get the onlooker to sit opposite me if I'm leading the group. So you look up, you're looking. And someone who's an onlooker, they'll do this. They won't look. And you just wait for them to look up. And then you look at them. So you get it. The monopoliser. We've got a few of them. The people that either they're really passionate about it, either they're just one of those people that God's gifted with a mouth that never stops, or they're actually insensitive to others. So how do you handle a monopoliser? Obviously don't have many monopolisers here. The obvious one is you sit next to them. Wherever they sit next to you. A monopoliser, it's subconscious. They'll actually sit opposite you so that they can get your eye contact. And a normal monopoliser, as soon as you look at them, will start talking. They don't need it. They just go for it. So I often will sit next to them. Safe Church, need to check on that. The old style was you'd sit next to them and you just tap them on the knee. Or you might tap them on the arm and they're like, oh, and they stop talking. You only do that of the same gender, of course. Now, Safe Church, the ruling on that?
Safe touching. I mean, another gender, tap on the arm, that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't put your hand on someone's knee.
Right, there we go. No more knees. Okay? Best policy, if after your first Bible study, Little Miss Dominator won't shush up, is you talk to them at afternoon tea. You say, look, it's great, I love your passion, you're giving us so much, but I'm just worried you're not giving the others a go. So can you help us out? Because you are going to be sensational. You really got this. I can see you convening West Camp in 3 years' time. But at the time, we just need to give the other kids a go. Is that all right? And then you just kind of have that look, And then, oh, that's right, I'm talking too much. All right, sidetracker. Don't you love them? Another good way with sidetracking is to let them say their thing, and some of them just love throwing grenades, They just want to cause a bit of stuff, and we're doing wisdom. They say, right, we don't have time for that. That's a really important topic. We don't have time. Let's talk about that later, all right? So you're not embarrassing them. You're recognising that. You recognise that it's important, because some of them could be really good. Some of them are just painful. And you don't want to go there anyway, but you say, let's talk about that later, and then you can contain it. Okay? And again, a word with that person on the side. The clown, I was one back in the day. The hardest thing to do is to not laugh, because when you laugh at a clown, what are you saying? Keep it going, this is good. And the clown will feed off you laughing at them. You've got a pen, you've got your palm. Dig it in until it hurts. Don't look. Best not to. Sometimes a clown can be good, yeah? Because they just lighten the mood and kind of freshen everyone up and stuff. But don't let them dominate. If you've got the young ones, you've got someone that's really robust, you might say, righto, Brian, that's really good. Everyone look at Brian. Look at Brian. Right, go, Brian. You gone? You done your thing, Brian? You sure you're done? Okay then, Brian, all right. Let us know when you're ready. That's a real clown. You can't do that with everyone. Expert, I think that's the theologian in the little book. Again, you got to talk to them. The argumentative fighter, again, is their problem and their chatter, which just wants to chat. But often they just want to chat without actually thinking. And we've got one in my Bible study youth group. This person is phenomenal. Hands up, answer anything, but never thinks about it. And so I've actually had to say to the group, look, we love this person, we're going to help this person, but you just got to bear with me. This person is just going to keep on engaging, and we've got to just not be derailed by that person. Okay? And the person I'm talking about is coming to camp. So this person could be in your Bible study, and you will soon know what I mean about someone that will talk about anything but have nothing to say. Okay. Any questions? It's important to know your own style and your other leaders' style and work with your strengths and share the group. Now, some groups, I don't want to steal the thunder, this is probably coming up later. Initially, if you're a junior leader, never lead, obviously the first study you mightn't have much input, or you're not going to lead it, but then as the week goes, you talk with your senior leader, and whether it's I'm going to do a half on a Wednesday, half on a Thursday, or I'm going to do the whole kit and caboodle on Thursday, you work that out, and senior leaders are there to help. And so I like to have junior leaders lead, and I'm just there just to kind of bounce off or just help the discussion. But senior leaders, let them lead. Don't just take over. Rescue them if they need, but let them work it out. And as long as it's not heresy, as long as no one's made fun of or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be the perfect 10 out of 10 Bible study. Is that all right? All right. Oh, time. Done. Good.